And they told me we were going to Da Nang, Vietnam, and that was going to be where we were going to be stationed.
As far as Vietnam, I don't think that there's anything really that prepares you for war.
I wore an American Marine uniform because I was born here, and when I took the oath, it was to this flag. So yeah, I'm an American.
And he did get a Purple Heart.
He got a Purple Heart. Oh, and there it is, dog tags.
Yeah. I'm going to look up.
The Voces Oral History Project is an oral history project. It was designed to create a record of Latino experience during World War II.
It looks like him.
People say, oh, I didn't know that Latinos fought in World War II. Oh, I didn't know that there were Latinos in Vietnam, because that's not been part of their experience. If you just go by what they're watching on television or reading in a lot of books, they're not going to know that we have a lot of dimensions to our people.
When I was in high school, we didn't have any black kids in our school.
Yeah, there was only, like I say, very, very limited exposure.
I think that for a lot of people, particularly Mexican Americans, this was the first time for many of them to have African American friends. So it was a period of a lot of race consciousness raising. They started looking at issues they had never thought to confront. I was just editing a story the other day that this one man said, I never thought about race so much until I'd heard the African American and the white soldiers debate each other about race. From that standpoint, it was a really important thing for their growth. They would see these Vietnamese people and they would say, they look like us a lot. They have darker skin. A lot of them are peasants. They're working in the fields with their families. They felt a connection. So there was a lot of conflict there. They didn't feel like they had been part of an honorable effort.
We should have done it in a different way for a shorter period of time and then left.
Growing up in the valley, there were quite a few illegal immigrants from Mexico. Most of the law enforcement officers were Anglo. And they would get a hold of a Mexican and they would treat him like, like bad. Dehumanize the person, kicking them and punching them out, including women and stuff like that. So I had that image growing up. So when I go over there and I see this being done to the Vietnamese, I couldn't help but be against that.
On the other hand, there's a lot that felt that they were doing something for their country. They were doing what their country had asked of them.
I don't remember what I told my parents, actually. I just know that I did quit high school, join the Marine Corps.
And so the military became an attractive way to leave the small town and eventually get an education.
I knew that I could easily graduate the following year, but number one, I was bored. Number two, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to afford to go to college, and so I decided to join the military.
If they didn't have a college degree, for instance, or they didn't score at a certain thing on their aptitude tests, they were put into the front lines. I know that the casualty rates for Latinos was way beyond the population in the military was, and even beyond, what our population of the U.S. was. So the casualty rates were higher.
You lose friends, you lose acquaintances, and so consequently you don't get real close.
We've interviewed Vietnam vets who lost a lot of buddies there. And part of how they've dealt with it, I think the survivor's guilt, is that they have made it their mission to tell the story about what happened to them there. My hope is that the Latino story will just get integrated into the fabric of our history, of our American history.